Grab it. We're starting right here. If you had a blank sheet of paper, I'd ask you to pull it out and start writing. And what I'd ask you to write on that blank sheet of paper is your philosophy of human interaction. And I give folks 60, 30 seconds. Take a minute and reflect that if you were going to step up here and teach a verbal fitness class, what suggestions would you strongly recommend for people to do with their words after they walk out of this educational seminar? I wish I had time. You anticipate I'm about to share. Time's up. Now when I have an 8-hour class, now we have sharing time. We got sir, we got ma'am. I've done it so many decades, it's kind of predictable. Be a good listener, treat people with respect. Years ago, when I was a dark-haired, round-headed boy, as a young professor, the state of Arkansas sent me out to Forest City to speak to their Tri-County region of officers. I get two kinds of people in my classes. Sometimes I get enthusiastic front row folks that bring pen and paper and they actually participate and flatter me. They're my favorite students. And then I get folks like, well, some of these other people in here today. Now, on this one day, I'm in Forest City, and it was a smaller group than this, 10 people in the room. And I got started with that little introduction, and real late came in a cross-county veteran sheriff deputy who obviously had not volunteered to come to his 8-hour verbal fitness class. He sits in the back row of the room, sits down, didn't even look at me during my presentation. So we got to this part, I said, everybody pick out a blank sheet of paper and write down 2 or 3 principles that make up your philosophy of human interaction. I was surprised to see the deputy pick up his pen. Curious, I wandered to the back of the room and looked over the shoulder of what that deputy had written down. What I saw that he had written down was those words. After the 60 seconds, said, okay, everybody drop your pens, let's have sharing time. Ma'am, what'd you write down there? She goes, oh, my daddy told me I got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a very good reason. I should probably be a listener. Most times I'm thinking I should be a talker. I said, man, your father is a wise philosopher. I said, how about you, young man? What you got? He goes, well, my mama told me, treat everybody with the utmost respect, and especially the ones that do not deserve it. Man, you play class. Your daddy has prepared you to always avoid saying the wrong thing and saying the right words by treating everybody with utmost respect. We had some more sharing time around the room, and then finally there was only 8 or 9 or 10 of us in the room. I came to veteran sheriff's deputy. Deputy, what do you got written down on that blank page? He looks at those words and then looks me straight in the eyes and says, I talk to them friggin' idiots exactly the way they talk to me. I said, oh, really? He goes, oh, yeah, they're going to be nice and friendly. I can be nice and friendly, sir. Well, let me assure you this. They're going to be less than nice and friendly. I can go that way, too. That day, I asked that small group the same question I'm going to ask this small group today. How many of y'all, in your professional career, in your professional work week, ever get an opportunity to speak directly to an idiot? Anybody? Some of y'all? Now, on those rare occasions when you're talking to one of your local idiots, if you use that principle to guide your words, what do you sound like to the rest of us?
Like an idiot.
That's the idiot's philosophy of human interaction. One of the reasons I quit asking what you got written down there, young man, was way too often there was some version of the principle of reciprocity. Now, this is universal truth. People tend to talk to people the way they're being talked to. Some communication professionals find a way to take advantage of basic human nature. De-escalate the situation. Tell people that are yelling at you, don't cuss at people that cuss at you, don't threaten people who threaten you. Universal truth. People tend to talk to people the way they're, now to be my truly favorite student. Answer this question for me. What would you predict is the number one thing when people participate right on that blank page, a principle of effective communication? What's the number one principle? What we call that the what? It took a while, sir. Brian with an eye. If there's one thing I'm going to predict, if I get people 6 seconds right down there, there's some version of the golden rule. Now, this is Mark 17. This is the laws of prophets. In all cases, do upon others as you have others do to you. But I thought I get more of the layman's kind of version that you gave a second ago. Treat people the way I expect to be treated. But this bottom version, there's a problem with that one. And if there's one word that we can point to that's going to create some problems, what's the word?
Expectation.
Expect. Almost all of our problems, I don't know what problem you came in here fretting about all morning long, the chances of fed by expectations. Either somebody violated your expectation or you violated somebody else's expectation, and now you've got to respond in an appropriate way that doesn't make things worse. Your expectations probably fall someplace in the middle of these two polar extremes, and if you're using your expectations to guide your critical conversations, you're going to have some problems. Now, here we go. Principle number one. If we had a blank page in the workbook, you'd be filling it out right here, right now, but we're going to speed version. This is the first principle I share with professionals who are engaging in verbal fitness. And we'll start right here with my platinum rule. And I encourage people to treat people better than they expect, and you can expect to be treated better. If there's one principle I've been field testing and raising 2 daughters over the last 3 decades, it's this one right here. And I've learned over the decades that the inverse is true too. You violate somebody's expectations about how you're treating them, I got a prediction for you.